Welcome to Zegana's Petting Zoo and sound those Simic alarms. Rashmi versus Zegana. Loving it. We're going to keep on this one. Yeah, I love our opening hand. We got 3 visits. We got Worldly Tutor. We have Hydroid Craces, which I cannot get enough of Hydroid Craces. This is just basically, he warms my heart. That Jellyfish Hydro Beast. I don't know if a Jellyfish Hydro Beast could warm your heart. He certainly does that. He or she. I'm not entirely sure of the gender. I would assume it's probably somewhere in between because there's a lot of heads on there. And, it's got a weird brain thing. It may not even have a gender. It may just be some sort of being from Welcome to Nightville. But anyway, welcome. Got some fun Simic stuff for you today. Let's lead off with Flooded Strand. And we're going to grab, we have no 1 mana dork. We could grab Fertilid if we want to. Excuse me, it's going to be 3 mana. Let's just go and hold on to Worldly Tutors. So we're going to crack Flooded Strand. Let's grab Breeding Pool. I'll have that come into play tab. That way we can cover our commanders freely and not worry about forgetting to do that. And then we'll pass the turn. We're playing Zegana, the Utopian speaker, the official keeper of the petting zoo. Whenever Zegana enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with a +1 counter on it, draw a card. Then for a 6 mana activation, adapt for 4. Each creature you control with a +1 counter and has trample. We're playing against Rashmi, the Eternities crafter. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, got the creepy Serum Visions too. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card with convert mana cost less than the spells, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't cast the revealed card, put it into your hand. Now they're going to lead off with the Yavimaya Hollow, which they can regenerate their creature, but it's probably not going to matter too much in this particular matchup. We don't really have a lot of destruction spells for creatures in here. So let's go and get down Tropical Island. Let's go for 3 visits. Yeah, I like that. We'll get down 3 visits. That'll allow us to grab a forest. If we want to go for something off Worldly Tutor, we might end up going for that. So we'll get down forest, especially with the coast being clear. What do we want to grab? We do kind of have a big payoff card in Thunderfoot Baloth. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go for Worldly Tutor at this point right now. Let's get this popped out just a little bit bigger. You know, let's go for Fathom Mage. I really like, if we're going to beat Rashmi, that's going to be getting some card draw. So let's put Fathom Mage on top of our library. We get it down next turn with High Market or Field of Ruin. And that'll really allow us to hopefully start outpacing our Rashmi opponent and getting some really nice card advantage. But yes, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors for the channel, MTGOTraders. If you're in the market for anything standard, commander, modern, legacy, or vintage related, they're your #1 card source for Magic Online. And especially, let's say you've been getting into Arena and you want to play some standard a little bit cheaper than spending all of your wild cards. You can build a lot of these same standard decks on Magic Online a lot cheaper. The client's not as pretty. That's 100% a given right there. But if you want to just play some just straight up Magic and you're going to play some deck ideas a little bit quicker than normal than burning through your wild cards, Magic Online is a good source for you to check out. Ooh, Time Twister. Okay, so yeah, we unfortunately miss out on that Fathom Mage, but we've got some good stuff in the hand. We hit Kodama's Reach. We've got we've got some other options. We can make this work. That was not really expecting that Time Twister, so hopefully we can kind of bounce back from that. But thankfully, oh God, our opponent's got a ton of mana, but they don't have a green source to get down, a green or blue source to get down Rashmi. So hopefully that might be the deciding factor. Okay, so we get down Blighted Cataract. Either way, we still need to end up going for Kodama's Reach. So yeah, because we want to keep up with that ramp. God, I was like, all right, we're going to be head on ramp, and the next thing you know, it's Mana Crypt and Soul Ring and Everflowing Chalice and Rutro. Let's grab Island, and then we'll go and grab another Island because we at least have another green source of Lana War Reborn. Let's get down the land drop. That's going to be 8 cards in the hand. Yeah, we'll have that come into play tap. That way we can graft onto one of our creatures, and that'll still allow us to go for Zegana. And then we'll go and pass the turn. But yes, check out MTGOTraders for any sort of card needs that you may have. And also shout out to inkedgaming.com. If you're in the market for a custom playmat, be sure to hit them up. They do good work, and they have a ton of options out there. And use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off of your order and help the channel out at the same time. Now, as far as playmats for the channel, I'm in the process for getting those done. I'm kind of waiting on the Church of Athreus art to get done. It's taking a little bit longer than I had kind of budgeted for. But once we get that art, then we'll kind of start rolling out some playmats, and hopefully I'll have my own little section on Inked Gaming. You kind of browse them. No, not going to put a +1 counter on Rashmi. And our opponent did make the colored land drop with Command Tower. So that does leave them on basically just only colored mana. And we're kind of free to do whatever we want to do. Ooh, Altered Ego. I think that's a that's a perfectly fine opportunity to go for. Let's get down Reliquary Tower. That way, if we start cashing in some card draw, we don't have to worry about discarding some stuff. Yeah, let's just go for a big Altered Ego. I like that. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And you tap down blue. X is going to be, yeah, we'll tap down Lana War Run. Yeah, X is going to be 2. That'll make Rashmi a 4/5. So that way we can battle the, in the Rashmi battle, at least we have our very own copy over here. Have a copy of that. Oh, yeah, I like that. And we'll still be able to save the Graph Trigger for Prime Speaker Zegana. That way we can get a few extra counters on there. And then end up in a pretty good position. Now, as far as spinning this Lana Reborn, the Graph counter, probably end up using that for Hooded Hydra. Enters the battle with X counters on it. Yeah, because we're going to get those snake tokens going. So we'll probably end up going for Hooded Hydra. And then what we did wheel into, it's really not that bad. We've got Champion of Lambholt, which we can, once we get those +1 counters going, we'll at least be able to kind of make it a little bit easier for us to start swinging in. And then also with Trollbred Guardian. I love this card. Troll Frog Warrior. He reminds me of Battletoads a lot. And he just, like, every once in a while you look at a magic creature and, like, if you were to say, like, hey, get out there, I need you to do something. He looks like he'd be so happy to just smash whatever's in his way. And I always appreciate that about Trollbred Guardian. So, now with Rashmi, yeah, whenever you cast your first spell each turn, yeah, okay, want to make sure, because I think one time I was playing Rashmi and I forgot what her ability was. I thought it was every single spell. And so I just, like, totally misplayed her. So we'll try to make sure we take advantage of her ability. Sometimes that, ooh. Mana Gorger Hydra. I think I kind of like that. So we get down Island. Yeah, let's go for Mana Gorger Hydra, because if we're going to start slinging some spells, we definitely want to have Mana Gorger on our side of the battlefield. Let's go for Mana Gorger Hydra. See what the first spell of our library is. It's going to be Scalding Tarn. Okay, we'll definitely take that. And then next turn, we'll probably kind of cash in a pretty big Hooded Hydra, which I think that'd be pretty good. I'm not going to put the +1 counter on Mana Gorger Hydra. And yeah, I guess we go for Zegana. That'll be a card draw, and that's pretty much exactly what we want to see. We will not be putting a graph counter onto Zegana. I did that one time, and I felt really bad. Because then it got rid of the adapt for 6, which would have been really good in that particular matchup. So let's get the graft ability. Not going to use that. Saving that for Hooded Hydra. Let's get the card draw going. And then next turn, that should set up a really... Ooh, yeah. Mana Crypt. Yeah, we've already seen Time Twisters. We can just go and hold on to Mana Crypt. Don't need to take any extra damage. Do we want to push in with Rashmi? No, that's fine, because if we push it with Rashmi, they can't go for Mystifying Maze. That does put us in a unique position, though, with Rashmi swinging in and Mystifying Maze, is if they exile Rashmi, that's going to enter the battlefield. And so we're going to have it entered as a copy of any other sort of creature. Now, the only downside is we do miss out on the X ability of getting those extra counters, but at least if we want to swing in with Rashmi, we can... kind of get a free clone effect or a free bounce effect if we want to make a copy of any sort of creature. If not, at least we can kind of force our opponent to allow us to start getting some damage in, which should be pretty good. But at least next turn we've got, and actually now that I think about it, if we end up going for Mana Crypt first with Rashmi, that will not end up working out. So we need to tap out for a Hooded Hydra. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. And depending on how we kind of sequence this, and it looks like we're playing against Rashmi Eldrazi, which is kind of cool, as long as we don't get down some like huge big, if they do get down some big Eldrazi creature, that wouldn't be the end of the world. But it's always nice to see some sort of weird build like this. No Eyeless Watcher. You do not get any counters. They're gonna get the spawn tokens. No. Everybody's got their hand out for some counters, and we're not giving them. We're going to save it for our creatures. Opponent does get down spawn Sanctum of Ugin, and they do have 5 cards in the hand. So since we're seeing a ton of Eldrazi spawn, we saw the Eyeless Watcher. We do need to watch out for the Eldrazi, and especially if they cast something with 7 or more, they'll be able to search your library for a colorless card. So we probably need to be a little bit aggressive in what we've got going on. Okay, so let's get down Scalding Tarn. That'll be another blue source. Do we just want to dump out for a big Hooded Hydra? I mean, we're completely open to a counter spell, but even then, I mean, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think we should go for that. So we go for Hooded Hydra. That's going to be green. And then 1, 2, 3. And then we get down Mana Crypt to go for Champion. I think that's pretty good. We need to actually tap out for an extra green source. There we go. X is going to be 3. Then it's going to be grab, excuse me, grab from Lano. Yeah, that's going to be it. So we'll go for Hooded Hydra, and then that's going to be Mana Gorger Trigger. And I'm pretty sure the converted mana cost on the stack is 5, but we'll kind of see what that is. So we'll get down, if we run into a counter spell, so be it. There we go. Oh, we could have used Scalding Tarn. Yes, we're going to use that extra ability. It's going to make it a 4/4. And then we get down Mana Crypt. That's going to be an extra trigger for Mana Gorger Hydra. And I guess technically, yeah, let's go for Champion. Actually, let's get down Trollbred Guardian. I think I kind of like that just a little bit better. So we're going to crack Scalding Tarn. There we go. Let's grab that last island. Go for Trollbred Guardian. That's going to be green. Because that'll give us another just kind of a big 5/5 creature on the battlefield. It kind of helps us out with Mana Gorger Hydra. And then we can start worrying about getting a few more counters on Champion next turn once we get down Azuri and then Shapers of Nature. So, in fact, we're going to push in right now with Mana Gorger Hydra. And I think these are, they do have 4 spawn tokens if they want to trade, but I think this is a pretty good attack on this because they're just going to force them to use Mystifying Maze. And we have to enter the battlefield with Zegana, which is perfectly fine. That's going to allow us to cash in another card draw. Let's see what they decide, who they decide to target with. And if it ends up being Rashmi, then we'll just make a copy of, Mana Gorger Hydra. We'll see who we want to go for. All right, they're going to go for Mana Gorger Hydra. That's perfectly fine. Let's get rid of those counters. It'll enter the battlefield. Then we at least have 8 coming across on our opponent. And then knocking them down to, well, we'll see how they want to block. But yeah, we'll probably see a few spawn tokens. Okay, so we're going to see the Regeneration Shield on the Eldrazi spawn token. And then, yeah, with Champion of Lambhold. I missed that last part. Whenever a creature enters the +1 counter. So next turn, we'll dump out Shapers of Nature. We'll get down to Azuri Claw of Progress, and that'll really allow us to kind of start pushing past our opponent on this one. I think that last turn, we should have got down Champion a lot quicker, but I misread the bottom part as far as when creatures could, getting a +1 counter on Champion. So we probably should have sequenced that last turn just a little bit differently, but that's how Magic goes sometimes, and that's how delivering live commentary with live gameplay goes sometimes. But if we do end up getting down Shapers of Nature, that's going to be activated abilities for some +1 counters, and then we can put that directly onto Champion. And we can also use this 3 mana and remove a +1 counter to start cashing in some card draw. So that's something that we can also kind of start working towards too. And then once we get down to Azuri Claw of Progress and we get those experience counters going, that'll really allow us to kind of start pushing through. Now, we do have Greater Good in the deck, so if we do run into Greater Good and we can sacrifice Hooded Hydra, end up being a ton of nice snake tokens on the battlefield, I think that'd be pretty good. But yeah, actually finished wrapping up talking about, I realized I didn't finish what I was talking about earlier. As far as this deck goes, this is basically just kind of built around Zegana's ability of giving our creatures trample. You can see we have Trollbred Guardian in here. It kind of keeps on theme with that. We also have Herald of the Secret Streams, Skatewing Spy. These are all things that allow us to kind of build this really fun board state that's kind of dependent on what sort of creatures we have with +1 counters. And it's just one of those decks that's just kind of fun to pilot. At the end of the day, win or lose, if we don't win, you had fun playing the deck. And that's kind of why this deck was made. We do have Artifact and Enchant removal in here now. Last time I recorded, I had no artifact or enchantment removal because we flew a little too close to the sun with strange creatures, and so yeah, just giving you a heads up. Now we do have a couple land destructions in here to deal with that Mystifying Maze, so hopefully we can draw into one of those soon because that'll just make it a little bit easier for us to swing in. Mystifying Maze on Hooded Hydra does not sound that enticing, to be perfectly honest. So we got the Mana Crypt trigger. Let's go and choose Tails on this one. There we go. Lost a flip. And then we draw, we're drawing the Ancient Tomb. Yeah, we're at 25. I think we're safe kind of deploying that. So let's go for Champion of Lambhold. It's going to be green. Get down Reliquary Tower. That's going to be the +1 counter on Mana Gorger Hydra. The good thing about opponent using Mystifying Maze for Mana Gorger Hydra is that we can basically just kind of rebound on a lot of this stuff. Let's get down Ancient Tomb. Because if we're going Shapers of Natures and Azuri, that's going to be blue-green, that's going to be 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to be just enough to get that down. So let's get down Ancient Tomb. Let's go for Azuri. That's going to be green, blue, and then 1, 2 off of Mana Crypt. It's going to be another +1 counter on Mana Gorger Hydra. And at the same time, still kind of give us another opportunity with Champion. Let's go for Shapers of Nature. That's going to be green and then double blue. And then unfortunately, we're one away from Adapt, but I think at this point, yeah, I just kind of like swinging in on this one. We just want to kind of start working away at some of those those creatures over there. Yeah, let's go and put a +1 counter. I don't think we get a counter on Trollbreak because we don't have any experience counter. Yeah, we don't have any experience counters, but I mean, this may not be a good attack, but I kind of like swinging in because we got Rashmi, we got Mana Gorger, we're just going to eat up Mystifying Maze. We've got Zegana, which is going to catch us in an extra card draw. If they completely want to negate Hooded Hydra, that's fine. And then we've got a 5/5. Yeah, this is fine. That's what the petting zoo's here for. Just see if Rashmi wants to have some fun petting some of our creatures. So we're going to send the petting zoo into Rashmi. Probably the best Mystifying Maze activation they can go for would be Hooded Hydra. That's going to give us 0 snake tokens, but that leaves us open for Mana Gorger Hydra swinging across. So we'll see how they decide to swing this one in. All right, they're going to cash in a card draw with Profit. And hopefully we can get a few more counters going. I know with Shaper, we can at least kind of use our excess mana to start putting a ton of counters on Champion. So that'll definitely allow us. And I think as far as Champion's ability, yeah, so they can, even if we get a ton of counters on Champion, they can still use Mystifying Maze to exile her. And then that would, they would still be able to block on some of our other creatures. So they're going to go for Hooded Hydra. Unfortunately, that's going to get rid of Hooded Hydra whenever he enters back on the battlefield. But thankfully, Hooded Hydra fell on that Mystifying Maze for us, and we're at least going to be able to get in a little bit extra damage. That's going to be 10. That's going to be 19. Put them all the way down to 2. And then anything else. Now, we'll just go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we might, depending on what we're going to run into, yeah, let's get the Claw of Progress, Hooded Hydra trigger. It's not going to be 0 snakes on this one. Sorry, Hooded Hydra. And then we can't bring that out of the graveyard. Yeah, that's just, it's gone. Get Hooded Hydra into the graveyard, get a 0 Claw of Progress. And I think that'll finally cash us in. Yeah, there we go. Get an experience counter. And then anything else, we're going to pass the turn to our opponent. So, opponent is sitting at 5 cards in the hand. They are getting a ton of Scion tokens on the battlefield, but thankfully, with the +1 counters from Zegana, that's going to give all of our creatures trample. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one, so we'll... oh yeah, the Mana Crypt trigger. We get it on the Mana Crypt trigger. I'll take it. So I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe our opponent wasn't drawing hot on that one, or why they didn't block on some of these spawn tokens. Maybe they're digging for just something in their hand that was some sort of threat. But whatever the reason is for them taking that hit like that, I will definitely take it. You can see what the Zegana Zoo is trying to do, and that's just get down a ton of creatures, get some nice +1 counters on there, and deal some damage to our opponent, and have some fun along the way. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.